Hey, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Cyberpunk 2077, aiming to be a playable and stable game without glitches and crashes. Now, there's quite a lot that in this kind of article that kind of says for how the company thinks about and how it's moved from being that kind of that company that you can be friendly with to the part where it's now just a massive blah 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 global thing where people take money and stuff. I want to say like conglomerate. I can't even say that word, but yeah, like it's how it's gone from like your friend to being this like corporate entity, etc., etc. And yeah, let's talk about it. So, whenever you are enjoying Cyberpunk 2077 or not, there's no question that the role-playing game's launch could have gone better. While the title's responsibility playable on next-gen consoles like the PS5 is subpar on the PS4 Pro and borderline unplayable on a standard PS4. Considering the release was originally scheduled to be deployed in April, it's an unfortunate turn of events. CD Projekt Red has in the aftermath not exactly help itself, despite turning a profit on day one to assuming 8 million pre-orders. It's since passed the buck to Sony, suggesting that fans will be eligible for PS Store refunds when they actually aren't. While this has flagged a gaping flaw in the Japanese giant refund policy, the Polish developer hasn't actually come out smelling of roses. If you have a box copy, then it's a little bit easier in a way. If not, I sent mine back to Amazon. I literally was just like, can't play this game. It's undone, and just send it back and got a refund. So if you've bought it from Amazon, at least you can do that. Other game stores, like I know Game in the UK, they probably wouldn't take it back. But, you know, it's very misleading for what CD Projekt Red have said in theirs. In their statement, seeing, you know, it feels like they had an agreement with Sony as well as Microsoft to say, hey, you can return this and get your money back, blah blah blah, etc., etc. But now it's looking like it's not, and that is something that is kind of really shitty. Polish developer hasn't actually come out smelling of roses. Board member Michael explained to investors that its ambition for the PS4 version of the sci-fi epic is to be a good, playable, stable game without glitches and crashes once it's implemented its previous promised July and February patches. So again, patches coming out too late to me, literally too late. You'd be working on this 100% to get it done. He admitted the company prioritized next-gen and PC performance. This gets me, this really does. Despite the game originally being scheduled to be released before the PS5 was even available. It is more about us looking, as we previously stated, at the PC and next-gen performance rather than current-gen. We definitely did not spend enough time looking at that, he said. Now, this is one thing that really irritates me. At the end of the day, back in 2012 in May, this game was announced, and back then the PS5 and the Xbox and future graphics cards and PCs that weren't even available, hell, probably weren't even dreamt of just yet, or even being talked about straight away. So you think that with that title that you would be developing this for Xbox and PlayStation 4, using the hardware and working on that one. Now, yes, I know that everybody loves PCs. I know that everybody wants to play PCs. But at the end of the day, not everyone can afford a brilliant gaming rig, and yet people have consoles. And this is one thing that kind of gets me when it's like PC users say, well, just play it on PC. It's like, it can't be like that all the time. Not unless you're spending $2,000 to $3,000 on a graphics card and then having a really cool rig to kind of go for it. Now, with this, that you think you would have designed Cyberpunk to go on that one, or at least when the PlayStation 5 was coming out, or like when everyone would have got specs for it as well as Xbox, that you would have turned around and said, actually, guys, we're now making this for PS5 and Xbox, blah, blah, blah. And so on and so on. And then said, like, we're really sorry to Xbox and PlayStation users for Xbox One and PS4, PS4 Pro and stuff like that. But this game is now a next-gen exclusive. So, yeah, that's how it is. And I think a lot of people would have been disappointed, but it would have been a very good point to say, hey, this is correct. It's just that sort of mentality of like, well, we wanted to go and bring it out into the next one, because you could have just done a HD remastered version, which would have worked better, because we all see that with PlayStation 4. Hey, look at this brand new game. it's now HD remake and it's remastered and looks a lot shinier on new consoles and it's got new content that you wouldn't get on these consoles. You kind of think that you would have been very much like upfront, but the way that statement just stands to me is just absolutely really horrible. I feel like it's we don't care about you anymore, not unless you're going to drop more money. And there were probably some people out there that would have bought more and more consoles. Like they would have bought a PS5, they would have bought something different. That's the way that I would have done it. Like, if you really want to play this game, play it on a different console. Play it on PS5 and Xbox Series X. That's pretty much it. Some fans have questioned why Sony allowed the game to pass certification in the first place, given its state. But Nowagaski, I'm sorry, I said that wrong, hinted that the platform holder trusted the studio to solve things before release. I can only assume that they trusted that we were going to fix things upon release, and that obviously did not come together. I kind of think that Sony and probably Microsoft as well, because they're in on this as well, that they should have turned around and not given that trust. And that I feel is very, like, this could then turn around much later on for Sony to turn around and say, well, no, we're not going to do this again. We're not going to trust what you say at all. And thus, therefore, that's all gone. And that could be for every company. So it's one of those things of like, one company has spoiled it for pretty much everyone. So it kind of, like, to me, is this now going to affect every other game, like, company, like, that if they say that they trust them and say, hey, it's not going to work anymore, we're not going to trust you, and this has kind of ruined it for everyone. So continuing, to conclude, the executive said that its aim is to get the game in much better shape than it is now, but that comes with a few caveats. To conclude, the executive said that its aim is to get the game in much better shape than it is now, but that comes with a few caveats. We have stated that if your expectation is that the game is going to be equal to, say, next gen or PC in terms of performance, that definitely isn't going to happen. Yeah, that's a given. It's as long as the game is playable and then you can buy it on PS5 and so on much later, yeah, that's going to be completely different. But to actually have a base game to play it, that's the main thing that you want to do, rather than give out what you gave, which was absolutely horrible. Having said that, I'm not saying it's going to be a bad game, but if your expectations regarding, say, visuals and other performance angle are like this, then we're openly starting. Then that's not going to be the case. Our investor summed up the statements of the entire gaming population with its response: I don't expect next gen performance on last gen, but I'd like to be able to play through the game. Thank you very much. And that's true. Like, I would much rather play the game and experience it rather than having everything look really bad, like grainy, or characters not like rendering properly or taking a while. Like, there are multiple games out there like Grand Theft Auto 5, and that's a very old game, but you have other games that are newer that can at least render like characters straight away, or at least start rendering in the background as you get to this point. There are games that do that. Look at Spider-Man, for example. That is a great game, but you don't see it as when you web sling in, you don't see characters looking like Final Fantasy VII characters or GoldenEye characters. You don't. So you kind of think that with this one, that you would try and fix the game as fast as possible. And I have a feeling like if this isn't patched, like say January 1st, I kind of feel like it's going to be the end of January and then the end of February. But you kind of think that you'd have literally your entire team working on this, getting it sorted, so that either you can get it done quickly, but it's also then with all this kerfuffle that's been going on, what are you going to do for are you going to give back to the gamers? Are you going to give like a crap ton of DLC and say, hey, you should be getting this? What is it? Like, that's what I want to know. Or is it just we just want to get the game done? Either way, what are you going to do? So yeah, I am going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that this game is going to really kind of come back? Do you think that it's going to be stable or playable? It glitches or crashes? Do you think that's all going to be in there? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments. And yeah, I do love this game. I want to play it. I really do. It pains me that I'm not But hey, like, you know, I'm going to leave it there. So let me know down below in the comments. And if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.